All right, now this Antonio Brown thing is pretty big news, man. I can't really remember news this big for a while. I mean, it's revolving around the NFL. As far as player transactions or players being released, I really can't remember news this big. But I don't know. I've been watching a few videos on YouTube about what other people's thoughts are on the situation because I'm always interested in other perspectives. I think that it helps reinforce my perspective, or it helps me come up with a better with a better way to view my perspective, or it may change my perspective altogether. And I just like seeing others people's opinions on certain things. But this Antonio Brown thing is pretty special, man, because I don't know how often we'll see a great player, because Antonio Brown is a great player, whether he's fucking retarded or whatever, because that's what people are calling him. Whether he's retarded or whatever, Antonio Brown is still, in my opinion, the best wide receiver in the NFL. It's not DeAndre Hopkins. It's not Julio Jones. Antonio Brown is the only player week in and week out, when he plays his game, it makes a significant impact. His production makes a significant, and let me say that it's better. His production makes a significant impact on his team. Even when, I guess, Juju was going off and shit last year, Antonio Brown was still a pivotal figure in those games that he played. So, in my opinion, Antonio Brown is still the best wide receiver in the NFL. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But the one question I did have, because I made another video where I think I don't know if the video I put up, the first one, because I made a couple of them. The first one where I said that, if Antonio Brown plays this week, this shit was playing a long time ago. But I just found out that the deadline, I think it was, the deadline for him to be on the sideline, I believe, was 4 o'clock. And he didn't beat that time, I guess. So, he's not going to play this week. So that's completely out of order. But if Antonio Brown plays week 2, man, if Antonio Brown plays week 2 and he's wearing an NFL issued helmet, like those helmets that he's been fighting against all this time, because I don't know what would change from him being on the Raiders to him being on the Patriots, that he would decide that the NFL would decide to just give him his helmet, give him that 1 year that he's been asking for, and leave it at that. What's the difference between him being here and him being there? Now, if Antonio Brown plays next week, most of this shit was. I'm telling you, I really believe, even without saying what I'm saying, I believe that this was bullshit. I believe that everything that we heard from Antonio Brown since he's been in Oakland, because we have never seen that Antonio Brown before. Nobody can say, they could bring up the locker room thing where he Instagram lived in the locker room. Sure, that was immature, but most fucking dudes like the Instagram now. Like, that's just the thing to do. That's just the thing to do, man. Like, people Instagram everywhere now. Fucking Drake be Instagramming at restaurants and shit. Like, why you trying to eat? Like, motherfuckers, that's just what they do, man. Like, that's not out of the ordinary today. For us that have been watching the NFL for a very long time, it's new to us. But kids today, that's just what they do, man. I mean, you got kids Instagramming from fucking hospital beds. It's just the thing to do. So it's not strange. What's strange is you fucking threatening to beat he threatening to beat up the GM of your football team that you work for. That's strange. So also strange is taking a hot air balloon to practice or training camp. Hold on, it was training camp. He took a hot air balloon to training camp. Like, it's funny. It is very funny. The shit that this guy was doing is very funny. It's disturbing, sure, but it's funny. And if this shit was bullshit, it takes all of the seriousness out of it. And what it really highlights, to me, what it really highlights is the length of deception that some teams are willing to go, the league is willing to go. Because I think, to be honest, I think that this is maybe a league-wide thing, man. Like when we talk about college football and we talk about some of the best programs in football, like LSU, Alabama, Tennessee, USC, Oregon, shit like that, Oklahoma, Ohio State, those teams. What we don't talk about is how are they able to continuously get some of the best players in? I mean, even their bench players can start on other teams and turn them into contenders. But you have these great players that's just willing to sit at these programs for years and years and years and finally get to play 1 year, and then they get picked. You know, they're high. You know, they're like top 10 draft picks and shit. Top, first round draft picks. Nobody talks about that weird system that they have going on there. But we talk about my charger failing. But we talking about how great these programs are. But we're not talking about why they're so great and why are these great players that's sitting on these benches are willing to sit there. What the hell is making these players want to sit there instead of going to a different college? And not just that, like how does it, all right, how does it change? Like if you have a well-known Division I team, like let's say Oklahoma, who's 12-0, right? And they're like number one in the nation. But then you'll have a team like let's say like Kent State or some shit like that, who is still a Division I team, and they're 12-0, but they're ranked like in the bottom 15, or I mean not in the bottom 15, like 15 or less, or sometimes they're not even ranked. I see so many teams that are like undefeated and they're not ranked, but then people talk about the strength of the schedule. I would think that the record itself, like in the NFL, it doesn't look. If one team has the easier record and the other team has the hardest record that year, but the record is the same, or the team with the easiest record had one more win than that other team, that team would be ranked higher come playoff time. Like if they're in the same division, the team that had the easier record but the better record, they would be the division winners versus the team that had the hardest record to deal with that year and one loss less. It's not like, all right, we're going to put this team over this team, even though this team has a better record. They didn't have to play at the level of competition they played. You see what I'm saying? So how does it work like that in NFL, but it doesn't work like that in college? And then I heard somebody say that maybe it's like some kind of payment thing where these top schools, they pay like the people that are ranking these teams, they do something that affords them that leeway where they get placed higher than other teams that are placed way lower, but they got the same amount of wins. And then they say it's the strength of schedule, but it's really not. It's just you pay to keep your position, I guess. But I've always wondered. I wondered that as a kid because I started watching college football around the age of 15, and I always wondered how the ranking system worked because I would see like a team like LSU 12-0, and then I'll see a team like Army or Navy go 11-1, 12-0, but they're not even ranked. And I always wondered about that. But there's a lot of questions around football, both college football and the NFL, that some people don't ask. Some people are just resigned to just letting go. And this is one of those things, man. This Antonio Brown thing is alarming, but is incredible that this is even a possibility, man. Like, this could be a possibility that this could have been all a ruse, man. It could have been a ruse. It could have been. And people call Belichick the ultimate mastermind and all this other shit. Why is it out of the realm of possibility? It's just like when people make these conspiracies about the government, and some people can't deal with it because, to be honest, some people can't deal with the idea that the government is as corrupt as they are, because we're under their protection. We're supposed to feel safe with the government. They're supposed to have our best interests at heart. And thinking that they don't have our best interests at heart, it unsettles us. And football is the same way. when we think about our teams that we love and we support, we think that their teams have the interest of putting the best product on the field for our interest, so we can have something great to look at. And to think that teams don't really do that, or teams aren't really invested in the fans like they say they are, is unsettling to some people. And this is one of those things where if I'm a Raider fan, man, I'm looking at this shit like, what the fuck happened? Like a week ago, even though he was a complete train wreck, we had the best wide receiver in the NFL. Now we don't have nothing. And we traded for him. We traded away assets to get him, and now the assets are gone. So, like, what the fuck are we going to do? Like, if I'm a Raider fan, I'm thinking like that today. And I'm trying to make sense out of it. Because as fans, just as citizens of of this country, security is everything. Security is everything. Feeling like our interests are being met is important to us. And when things like this happen, man, it makes me wonder. Like, I go through all sorts of scenarios in my head of why things are happening the way they're happening. I've been like this for a very long time. Even if I'm wrong, which most of the time I am. Even if, I realize my answer before, I realize my answer after I've already asked my questions. I mean, sometimes that happens. But that doesn't stop me from wondering, man. Like, and this makes me wonder. This video was a lot longer than I wanted it to be. But that's because, I had some thoughts in my head that I just wanted to get out. And I know the way some people do this sports, I'm not going to say sports reporting thing. I'm going to say I'm not a sports reporter. I'm more of a sports opinionist. And I try to give my opinion on certain things, give a different perspective, hope that it drives other people to get, think in ways that is not like everybody else, which it brings me comfort when I do that. And this video was a lot longer than I wanted it to be, but I try to be, I try to be off the cuff with a lot of my reactions or a lot of my opinions. And sometimes when I'm making this video, I come up with new ideas that I may say during the video. I mean, it's not me being unprepared. It's not me doing anything like that. That's just the way that I'm constantly thinking all the time. Like while I'm talking right now, I'm thinking at the same time. That's why sometimes I drag on and on and on. But I don't know, man. Situations like this, and like the Odell Beckham Jr. situation and stuff like that, it gets your mind thinking, like, what the hell is going on? Because shit is weird right now with the NFL. But that's about it, man. The sentiment of this video and the question of this video that I wanted to put out, that I want everybody to think about, because if this turns out that there is more validity to this, how often does this happen? Because that's my question. That is my question to the NFL. That's my question just period when it comes to this NFL thing. Like, how often are a lot of these situations faked or manipulated for certain outcomes? I mean, I believe I believe it happens in the NBA. That's why you see certain players go certain places. That's why you see certain players get traded certain places. That's why you see certain players ultimately being in the same spot. That's why you see certain outcomes as far as games or players and all this other shit. I mean, it breeds new theories, and there's nothing wrong with theories, man. I hate when people try to make theories sound like something that it's not. Like it's some fucking dirty word. It's not a dirty word. All a theory is an opinion that has webs to the way it works, man. It doesn't mean that it's not true. It doesn't mean that it's not. It doesn't mean that it's real. It just means that it's an opinion, but it's such a complex opinion. Certain people can't handle that kind of opinion. That's why it's considered a dirty word. But that's it. I'm done. I'm done talking. But I'm gonna say this one more time. If Antonio Brown plays week 2 with a helmet that the NFL issues him, we all know what is going on. We all know what's going on at that point. Keep an eye out for that, man.